magandang buhay. So, our topic for today is criminological research made easy. Before anything else, I would like to acknowledge one of my friend, Sir Rio Bacani, who permits me to enrich the content of his former presentation. So, by the way, I am Anthony Jimenez. As you all know, we have new curriculum. This is the Child Memorandum Order number 5 series of 2018, which makes the criminological research be offered for semester semesters. Formerly, in the old curriculum, this is only a semester. So let's start. What are the contents of this presentation? So we have overview of research, the purpose or the importance of research, what are the characteristics of a good researchers or research. Uh, we have the qualities of a good researcher, sources of research problem, formulation of research topic, ethical principles of research, and requisites in formulating research title. So your goal now, after this lesson, you are expected to the following. You should be able to understand the basic concepts and principles of research, its purposes or importance. You should able to discuss the different characteristics of a good research, and then you should also develop or later manifest different characteristics of a good researcher. And of course, you should observe the ethical standards in research writing. Specifically, you should conform with the institutional format of your university and follow some governmental policies. So now, what is research? Research can derive linguistically from the two words re and search. Re is a prefix means again or to review, and search is synonymously with the word seek, investigate, study, look for, probe, explore, analyze, examine, and scrutinize. Literally, therefore, research means to seek again or to investigate again. Further, research is a problem-solving activity. It involves a systematic search for pertinent information on a specific query. It is a careful, organized, and well-planned investigation of a problem. So when we say systematic, the research is done according to a fixed plan or order in connection from gathering your information for your to answer your query or the problems. A researcher should be careful, should be organized, and should be able to formulate his plan or her plan for the investigation or examination or even to the exploration he or she will make. Another, research is the manipulation of the thing, concept, or symbols for the knowledge purpose of generalizing to extend to correct or verify knowledge, whether that knowledge aids in the construction of theory or in the practice of an art. You should also manipulate your resources in a skillful manner in order to extract important or necessary information that will help you correct or verify the knowledge currently you have if it can aid in the construction of your theory or in the practice of an art. So research also can be based on observable experience or empirical evidence. It involves accurate observation and description as well as careful recording and reporting. So as a researcher, you need to be objective or empirical. Your ideas should have concern with or verified through your observation and experience rather than theory or pure logic. So now, why do we have to conduct research? We're conducting research in order for us to gather information or knowledge and wisdom that will improve our decision making. Let's try to imagine if human beings will base their decision through their intuition, gut feeling, emotions, and or common sense. What do you think would happen? You would soon realize that common sense is not the best option or approach, and sometimes we are encountering some dilemmas or conflicting ideas or theories about what will work in a specific situation. There is indeed a danger if we will base our decisions on what I have mentioned, because the problem might escalate or worsen and create more problems later. In most decision making, we need sufficient and necessary information which can be achieved through research. For that being said, I would like to advise the students to read a lot in order for you to collect the sufficient knowledge before arriving to a certain conclusion or a decision. Next is research offers alternatives to the problems. We are conducting research in order to come up with a solution to a particular problem, of course, and to improve the quality of life. As far as globalization is concerned, research definitely improves the quality of people's life. Through research, we created new things or stuffs that makes our lives a lot easier, such as the creation of machine technology or internet, computer, and the like. Lastly, is to lead us for new discoveries and answer demands of the society. In relation to the war we are encountering, which is the war on pandemic, everyone is praying for the discovery of the vaccine. Currently, our government are encouraging every scientist by offering money whoever will discover the vaccine. So what are the characteristics of a good research? Mainly, a good research should have a good problem. A good researches are characterized in terms of the problem they tackle. A clear definition of the problems constitute the 50% of the quality of research output to be expected. So this research problem should need to satisfy certain basic conditions such as the problems need to specify the parameters to be examined, meaning these are the numerical or other measurable factors or variables in your research. The parameters must be measurable and quantifiable, like just what I have said. And lastly, the problem must specify the nature of analysis to be performed. If the researcher is looking into the significant difference or a relationship of a certain variable to another variable. Another characteristics of a good research, the problem of a good research must have a universal rather than parochial appeal. Say, for example, people of different persuasion should get interested in the problem. So, a good research has a universal scope or outlook. You should not limit your readers for a specific category or cluster. Thus, it should cater different professions, courses, or degree. Another, the problem should develop a new theory or a breakthrough discovery. And lastly, the problem should lead to changes in policy or reinforce existing policies. As a researcher, you should be able to create a good output which can be a new theories or policies which can be adopted by the institution concerned in order to strengthen their existing policies. What are the qualities of a good researcher? So we have an acronym here, researcher. A good researcher should be a research-oriented, efficient, scientific, effective, active, resourceful, creative, honest, economical, and of course, religious. So uh, now I will ask you different questions answerable by yes or no. Let's see or let's assess if you are a good researcher. Research oriented. So my question is, do you have the ample amount of concentration needed in the research making process? I hope it's yes. Next, we have efficient. Are you capable of having a good quality research with a limited time? Scientific. Are you following a certain method, or are you taking a step-by-step process in creating your research? Effective. Do you do your best performance always? Active. Are you always on the go and never passive? Resourceful. Can you maximize the usage of available resources in effectively manner? Because as far as economic is concerned, every individuals have their limited resources. As a researcher, you should be able, or you should be resourceful and be wise. Creative. Are you capable of thinking outside the box? Honest. Do you always acknowledge your resources or sources and other researches and does not manipulate data? Economical. Do you handle your budget well because creating a research can be quite expensive? So religious. So do you ask our Lord Almighty for guidance, wisdom, patience that you need? Now, are you a good researcher? I hope the answer is yes. Sources of research problem. So what are the sources of a research problem? According to Wilson, 1987, he says that experiences are the first sources of the problems. The researcher may have experiences which have an impact on his daily life. So as a researcher, we can extract good problems based on our own experiences that has a big impact to our daily life or influence us in one way or another. Next, the problems in the organization or working environment. Say an example of this is the relationship with colleagues, the effect or impact of a good camaraderie within the organization. We have leadership styles, attitudes of people, innovations of technology, uh, impact of CCTV for crime prevention, for example, and human behavior of the clients. Another is classroom discussion or activities, theories which need empirical support. Say, for example, we have level of job satisfaction using the motivation theory, the IQ in relation to achievement using intelligence theory. So here we learn some theories in the classroom discussion or a classroom activity. We can adapt that theory and try to look to its applicability and feasibility. Next, we have technological and scientific advancement. So there are many uh, kinds of pollution. The problems on pollution. So we have air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution. Next, the drug addiction. You can conduct research about the impact of plantokhang or about drug surrenderies, and of course, food technology. Another sources of a research problem is the offshoots of other researches. At the of any research report are recommendations for further research. Offshoots of other researches, these are researches that originated or developed from someone else. If my memory serves me right, one of my professors said that a research will start with a problem and always lead to another problem that can be answered through another research. That's why you can extract a research problem to the offshoots of other researcher. Next, we have suggestions. So suggestions and recommendations from panel members, instructors, administrators, or on a problem to be solved which the students can undertake. So now students, you can ask their teachers or instructors or even the administrators of your schools, where can you get your research problems. Now we have specialization. It could be a problem in their field of specialization like science, math, English, social science, general education, criminal. In relation to criminal justice or criminology, we can revisit the areas of law enforcement, prosecution, the court, correction, and community, and other field of specialization as far as criminal justice, forensic science, and criminology is or are concerned. We have teaching methods. Will present teaching methods be effective in such setting? What new methods will have to be devised? So teaching methods, it presents the effectiveness of the different teaching methods or strategies of a teacher, or in the future you can examine or explore about the effectiveness of the virtual class. Of course, we have academic performance of pupils or the students. So if you want to see the different factors that affect their learning styles, the level of competency, how good your students can perform for a specific task, and what is the effect of the oral reading remedial measure. And of course, research journals, these are the published materials available in the Learning Resource Center of the school, or also known as your library. So now, how do we formulate our research problem? So a research problem should be stated in a researchable manner. The very first step in the research process is making or formulating our research problem. This research problem will necessarily guide us throughout the process of the entire research work. Further, research problem will be the basis of your study. If you want to solve a problem, you must know the problem precisely. That is why it is more important that you can formulate your research problem properly. So, how do we formulate now our research problems? These are some of the steps that you can make. We have to identify, dissect, and select. So identify a broad topic area in a particular field. Say for example, we have a criminal justice. Next is to dissect the broad area into sub areas through some form of brainstorming with peers and others who are knowledgeable of the topic. What are the areas of criminal justice? We have law enforcement, the prosecution, court, correction, and the community. So you can discuss that topic to your friends or group mates in order for them or in order for you guys to have sharing moments of your ideas and your thoughts about that particular uh, topic or a research problem. After you dissect it, you will going to select the specific area with the researcher would focus on. So um, select the research problem which you are interested, okay, which you are passionate about, in order for you to uh, make an effort easily. Next is to raise a research questions that would be answered through the study. So the fourth step is to raise your research questions. So after selecting a specific sub-area of your interest, you will now need to think what should you explore about these sub-areas. In other words, you should raise and choose the most important and relevant questions in the sub-area. The fifth step is to formulate your objectives. Your objectives should be extracted to the research questions. The only difference between research problem and your objectives is the way it is written. Research questions are written in an interrogative manner or interrogative sentences, while the objectives are actions or aim-oriented statements consisting of words such as to explore, to investigate, to examine, to find out, and so on. The sixth step is to assess your objectives, if it is feasible or attainable with your time, resources, and the like. Lastly, you need to double check, okay, that adequate resources are available. A review of relevant literature helps enormously in widening the knowledge base needed before defining the problems. So the last and seventh step is to double check. So you need to revisit your resources and the like in order for you to be sure about going on with your research problem. Now, what are the ethical principles of research? We have honesty. Honesty or striving for honesty in all scientific communications. Honestly report data results, methods, and procedures, and publication status. Do not fabricate, falsify, or misrepresent data. Do not deceive colleagues, granting agencies, or the public. So honesty is a moral obligation of every researcher. It's a no-no for a researcher to manipulate his or her data and bypass some of the procedures he or she needed to undertake. Next, we have the principle of objectivity. Strive to avoid bias in experimental design, data analysis, data interpretation, peer review, personal decisions, grant writing, expert testimony, and other aspects of research where objectivity is expected or required. Avoid or minimize bias or self-deception. Disclose personal or financial interests that so objectivity is the researcher should not be influenced by their personal feelings or opinions in representing their facts in order for the research not be compromised in its quality. Never deceive. Of course, we have integrity. The researcher should keep his or her promises despite of the challenges or problem he or she might encounter along the way. The researcher should also be careful. He or she should at his or her best to avoid mistakes, errors, and negligence. So keep keep good records of research activities, data collection, research design, and correspondence of agencies or journals. From the start of the process up to the end of your research process of your research making, you should take notes where did you get your literatures and other important activities which is connected to your research process. Now we have openness. Share data, results, ideas, tools, resources, be open to criticisms and new idea. Okay, by sharing your data and the like, it will lead you to a person or a mentor that can give you a constructive criticisms and new ideas for the betterment of your research. So don't be afraid to share your thoughts, your ideas with regards to your research, most especially to your advisor, to your instructor. They might share a better recommendations or suggestions that might improve or in for the betterment of your research. And of course, we need to respect for intellectual property. Honor patents, copyrights, and other forms of intellectual property. Do not use unpublished data, methods, or result. Give credit where credit is due. Give proper acknowledgement or credit for all contributions to your research and never plagiarize. This simply means, or respect for intellectual property simply means giving the proper credits that your contributors deserve. As far as research is concerned, there is no research which the content are all came originally from its author. Again, never plagiarize. It is a mortal sin as far as research is concerned. Next is confidentiality. Protect confidential communications such as papers or grants submitted for publication, personal records, trade or military secrets, and patient records. In relation to confidentiality, you should not disclose any information which you don't have the permission to disclose or share. Next is responsible publication. This means that as a researcher, we should aim to publish our research. Although to be honest, it is not that easy and it is quite expensive. But as a researcher, it is our responsibility to share our research because it might lead to a better change. That is why I am encouraging everyone to strive for publication of your researches. We have now responsible mentoring. Help to educate, mentor, and advise students, promote their welfare, and allow them to make their own decision. So for my fellow mentors, for my fellow instructors, teachers, please don't hesitate to help or guide our students, most especially those newbies in the field of research. And of course, respect for colleagues. Respect your colleagues and treat them fairly. This is quite a memory for me actually. So, Dr. Tim Pak once said on our first meeting that your colleagues is your friend and a wonderful investment that you can ever have in your entire career. Because they are the one who can and will help you if there is trouble or problems. Now we have social responsibility. So let's strive to promote social good and prevent or mitigate social harms through research, public education, and advocacy. So as a researcher, we should make a research that is socially good, and we should not make any researches that can harm other institutions within the society. Next is non-discrimination. Avoid discrimination against colleagues or students on the basis of sex, race, ethnicity, or other factors that are not related to their scientific competence and integrity. So, as a researcher, let's be careful to the terms we will use in our researches. Ensure that it is not discriminatory in nature so that we cannot harm others or we cannot offend others. Next is ethical principles of research. The researcher should know and obey relevant laws and institutional and governmental policies. This is the last principle of research. Let's confirm and obey relevant laws and institutional or even governmental policies. Most especially, every institutions have their own format. We cannot do what we please, so we need to be obedient. What are the requisites in formulating our research title? The research title must be reflective of the problem. It must answer the following questions. So we have three questions here: what, who, and where. What are you trying to investigate? What are you trying to find out? What are you trying to determine or discover? Next is who. Who are the respondents or participants or even the subjects of the study? And where is the research locale, setting, or place of the study? Where talks about the venue where your research are being conducted. So your research title should answer these following questions: what, who, and where. Okay? Second is your research title should be short, concise, and brief. The ideal research title should neither be more than 15 words nor more than 2 lines, although there are cases when the research titles consist of 20 words or 3 lines, this could still be accepted. As much as possible, try to make your title concise and eye-catcher, which can trigger your would-be readers' interest. So later on, I will show some examples of uh, research title. Next is starter phrases which are already obsolete should be avoided. We have examples: study of, a comparative study of, an evaluation of, an assessment of, and the like. So obsolete meaning out of date or no longer used. Currently, we should not use these obsolete words or obsolete starter phrases in our research title. Lastly, the research title shall be written in an inverted pyramid uh, like this. We have These are some of my examples of research titles. We have title number one: Extent of Policy Implementation or Motorcycle Helmet Act in the or in the city of Urdaneta, Pangasinan. Title number two: Level of Performance of the Criminologies Licensure Examination Reviews in Criminalistics. Perceptions of Tarlac State University College of Criminal Justice Education Students in Campus Training. Again, in crafting your research title, you should the research title should be reflective in the research problems or yung what, where, and who natin. And crafting your research title should be concise, short, and brief. And hopefully, hindi yan lalagpas ng 15 words. So, uh, next, thank you and may God richly bless us all. Stay at home and ingat. Peace out.